Hello all, I have prepared for you the best retelling of the manhwa. I guarantee you will enjoy this manhwa, so please like and subscribe to the channel in advance, thank you. Our story begins with the main character riding the train and reading the novel. He wonders why the manhwa he spent 10 years reading became so unpopular, no one but him reads it anymore. The main character is not that surprised, because the manhwa had 3,200 chapters, so there are very few people who can read the same thing for 10 years. But he didn't know at the time that the same novella, which he had been reading for half of his life, would turn out to be pure truth and be transported to his real world. The train stopped abruptly and a demon appeared in front of him. But the protagonist was not frightened, he just said, "I know the development of the story. But let's go back a little bit to the past." The main character is reading a manhwa in which an epic battle takes place. Before reading the very last chapter, he noticed that he was really nervous. Why would he be nervous? He thought. He also noticed that no one had read the last chapter but him. Would I be the only reader to know the end of the world? He decided to read it anyway, and to his surprise he noticed a note from the author. "There are only 3 ways to survive in this new ruined world, and I have no doubt that you the reader will survive." What? Was that the end? I didn't get all the answers to the questions. The main character's name was Dokja, which is the only child in the family. It was the name his father gave him to live as a strong man, even when he was alone. But his father was right. Eventually Dokja was left alone and lived the life of a bachelor. He didn't get a good education and got a job at a branch of a big company, was to read novels and manga on his way home. But today was a special trip. Dokja sat down to his phone and went about his usual business. But he was distracted by a girl who came up to him. She was Yoo Sanga, a beautiful girl from the human resources department of the company where Dokja worked. A small conversation ensued and he remarked, "To think I met the most popular girl in the company. Surely she is often offered a ride home by car, so why does she take the subway? She was beautiful in everything, strength training, learning languages, we live with her in different worlds. And what do you read?" Yoo Sanga asked. Dokja tries to hide the phone, but she sees that he is reading a novel. But she was happy, because she loved to read novels too. But this day wasn't special. But this day was special not because Dokja met the girl of his dreams, but because today was the last chapter of his favorite novel, which he had been reading for more than 10 years. He had been reading it since the 3rd grade of elementary school. Even when he was bullied at school. Even when he failed his exams. Even when he was in the army on the front lines. He was always and everywhere reading his favorite novel. But today was the last chapter. If at the beginning of it, in the middle of it only Dokja read it, and each chapter had only one view, so it was written for him personally. He tried his best to help the author. But nobody wanted to read it. What fools, thought Dokja, you just need to read a little and then begins the most interesting, stupid people. Dokja and Yoo Sanga had a long talk and Dokja was losing more and more confidence in himself. She was perfect compared to him. But their conversation was interrupted by a message that came to his voicemail. It was the author of the novel that Dokja had read so diligently over the last 10 years. It was a thank you message, and then the author thanked Dokja again. Because of him the novel had won a little-known contest and now it would be funded. The author asked for the email address of the main character to send him the gift. Dokja was surprised and asked again. But the author of the novel just said, "Thanks to you this story will come to life in the real world." The email Dokja received a message, "Monetization begins at 7 o'clock, good luck." That I had 5 minutes left, the protagonist thought. Then strange things began to happen. The novel was abruptly deleted from the internet. And then the light on the train suddenly went out. Then it stopped abruptly, scaring all the passengers. Dokja looked at his phone and saw that it showed 7 o'clock. Monetization? He thought. But suddenly the train driver shouted into the microphone to alert the passengers. No one understood what was going on when suddenly red lightning flashed in the carriage and people heard the following message. "The free service to your planet has ended and now the main scenario begins." This was a turning point in Dokja's life story. Now his life had changed from the mundane genre he had grown so tired of. People were shouting all sorts of phrases, but Dokja only noticed more and more how it all looked like the beginning of the novel he was reading. No, it can't be, he thought. But suddenly a strange creature appeared in the air. And that's when he realized, fantasy and reality had merged into a new world. But no one except Dokja didn't understand the seriousness of the situation. People began to think that this is someone's joke. But he knew that the appearance of the creature meant endless trouble and disaster. At first the creature mumbled in an incomprehensible language, but suddenly it spoke Korean. People began to pester it with silly questions, but it stopped them, and said, "Calm down and take your seats, I have something to explain." But they just started to ask him to stop. They were late for work. But that's because people just didn't understand. Except Dokja. He told Yoo Sanga not to move and to be quiet. But he was interrupted by a creature that was hovering in the air. It started to get angry at people and took the form of a monster. It blew the brains out of a couple of people in the carriage, scaring the hell out of people. And then it screamed, "This isn't a movie or a book, this is a new reality. Before that you lived in a beautiful world and didn't think about the nature of things. You just drank and ate, and enjoying life, it was all free to you. But your good days have come to an end, now you will have to pay for comfort." A man approached the monster from the crowd. It was the manager of the company where was the manager of the company our protagonist worked for. "If you are asking for money, then take it from me." To which the monster replied, "Do you really think I need human money?" And then he simply ignited it in the man's hands. "Your money only works in your little world, but there is a world much bigger than yours and your money is worthless there. Offer it to me again and I'll kill you," said the monster. And then the monster decided to show them by example, rather than explaining everything 1,000 times. He flew through the crowd of people and gave them a task. People were shocked by what they saw. Dokja also got the job. Proof of significance. Kill one or more life forms. Category, main assignment. Difficulty F. Time, 30 minutes. Reward, 300 coins. Mission failure, death. Dokja was shocked by the task. But he was interrupted by a monster. "Good luck, please entertain us with a great show." Yoo Sanga tried to call the police, but there was no answer. "Calm down," Dokja said. "Yoo Sanga, do you remember the game we made at the company? The game where the world was destroyed and only a few people survived, we were in that game." She didn't believe him. "Look, every game has rules and we have to follow those rules. Now we have to understand those rules." Dokja stood and looked at all the horror that was happening on the train and thought only one thing. "I can't believe it, but the novel I've been reading for 10 years has come true. Now I have to think, what can I do to survive in this world?" Suddenly a man spoke loudly from the crowd. It was an army lieutenant. He urged everyone to stay calm to avoid unnecessary casualties. He had a message from his unit. "There's a level 1 national disaster. A level 1 national emergency. All troops must assemble immediately." The crowd began to question the soldier, but he did not know the answers. Dokja was not surprised by the announced level of threat. He was surprised that he knew this man, but he couldn't remember where from. "I haven't seen him, but I know exactly who he is," thought Dokja. "He seems to be one of the significant secondary characters in the novel. Shit, even the characters are the same, has it really? It really has become like a novella. But I really can't remember if Lee Hyun-sung was the same in the novella. No, I sure as the only reader of the novella that he is not the same in the script now. What's going on? I don't understand." Yoo Sanga showed him her phone that the news was talking about a national disaster. "Stay in your homes, the government will solve all your problems." "Yeah, of course you will," Dokja thought. But all of a sudden, people in the wagon started screaming. The Prime Minister was killed on live television. Then the monster reappeared and shouted to the whole carriage. "People, I already told you. This is your new reality. But if you don't listen, and I know that in your country people must play the game well, then what happens if I increase the difficulty?" And then there was a clock in the carriage. Instead of 30 minutes, it now showed 10 minutes, which was the time in which people had to complete their tasks. And as an extra task, if the first murder in the wagon wasn't done in 5 minutes, all people in the carriage would just die. People got really scared. "It's just as I thought," said Dokja. "But I still have a lot of anxiety. Lee Hyun-sung has already appeared, but where is the other guy? There should be 2 of them." People tried to block the doors, but some strange field appeared in front of the man. "Until the scenario is completed, access to the wagon will be restricted," a message appeared in front of the people. The monster said, "Okay people, I will show you what will happen to you if you do not comply with the conditions." And then they saw a terrible scene. Almost everyone in the class was killed except for one girl, who agreed to complete the task. People were shocked by what they saw. But the main character wasted no time trying to find out his characteristics, and he was rejected. But in return, he accidentally found out about his unique ability. A quick read. It took him less than a minute to read the first act, the survival method. Thanks to this ability he saw an important number. It was the number of the carriage that was described in the novel, but Dokja was in a different carriage. And that's why the story was a little different from the one he had read before. He found a clue that shocked him. In his wagon at the end of the game, there were only 2 people left alive. The 2 men got into a fight. And then the blonde man said, "The world has changed, you have to kill somebody or they will kill you." Kim Namwon was the guy's name, and he seemed to adapt to the new world faster than anyone else. Dokja could only watch the horror that was happening right in front of his eyes. Lee Hyun-sung tried to intervene, but he stopped her. "I am the person who should save her," thought Dokja. But he had a plan, and was just waiting for the right moment. He ran, and at that moment the train next door blew up and Dokja seized the moment to attack Kim Namwon. Then he saw a child in the crowd. Holding something in his hands, he approached him and asked to borrow it. Then Dokja shouted loudly, "Stop it, the first death won't do you any good, you'll have to kill each other after that. That's no way out, think about it." But Kim Namwon stood up and shouted back, "Don't be afraid, coward, you're next in line." But our protagonist had a plan of his own. He said there was a way to survive without becoming a murderer. It shocked everyone. Have you already forgotten the terms of the assignment? You don't have to kill a human, you have to kill any life form. Then he held out his hand with the beetle in it. Then all the anger that had been directed at the poor old lady was redirected to Dokja. But he even began to enjoy this situation. His boring life is in the past, now he can show his talent, which saved up for many years. And people rushed to look for them. Dokja also got a reward for first blood, 100 extra coins. Kim Namwon said, "Couldn't you just give these bugs away? Only 3 minutes left." "Only 3 bugs left inside," replied Dokja. But Kim Namwon started laughing and said, "You just wanted to see how people fight each other." Dokja discovered his new unique character description ability. "You're tough and free. You like to enjoy the current situation, right, Kim Namwon?" There was a tip in the description that said don't mess with Kim Namwon. I remember him, in the future he will get the title of Crazy Demon. This type is dangerous. He waited for the destruction of the world and adapted to it with inhuman speed. "Hey, team up with me, Dokja. Is he offering me a deal?" he thought. "I'm sorry, but I like loneliness," answered Dokja. "Joining with him is advantageous and ensures my survival, but I've read the novel, so I know not to do that." Kim Namwon went to kill the old lady, but Dokja wouldn't let him. Kim Namwon tried to kill Dokja for that. He dodged the blow because he was expecting it. Kim Namwon was surprised, but continued to attack, using his unique skill. Darkness. Can he use the skill yet? Thought Dokja. And then Dokja unlocked his unique skill. Omniscient Reader. Kim Namwon is mad that he can't hit Dokja. Dokja tried to cover the old lady with his body, but Kim Namwon saw that coming, and took out his knife. Dokja saved the old lady by getting slightly injured. And because of that, he couldn't. Kim Namwon started laughing at him. But the main character realized he had to become stronger. He had no choice. So he stood up and crushed a whole bunch of insect larvae in his hand. For that, he got a huge amount of money. Kim Namwon rushed at him with a knife. But Dokja used the large amount of money he received for the insects to upgrade his physique skill. Now his body has become. Kim Namwon stabbed him right in the heart, but the knife could not penetrate Dokja's physical defense. "I will not be the one who dies today," Dokja said. "But you, Kim Namwon, today is your last day." Kim Namwon frantically tried to kill the main character, but failed, and the time to complete the mission was over, so he managed to defeat Kim Namwon. There were 5 survivors. Kim Namwon started begging to save him, but Dokja was very hard on him and wouldn't help. "Terrible things happened today, but I'm calm as if I'm reading a novel." "I like that," thought Dokja. The monster reappeared and gave the main character the achievement, Serial Killer. In total he killed 125 living creatures and earned 6,000 coins. One world was destroyed and a new world was built in its place, but I am not afraid at all, because I am the only reader who knows what end is in store for this world. A huge snake, ichthyosaur, a sea serpent, moved towards the carriage and frightened people, but Dokja was calm. He understood the threat of the snake. It was a class 7 monster, but he knew that while they are in the carriage they are protected by the script and the snake wouldn't attack them. The script is the main thing. The monster flying in the train carriage was happy. He enjoyed the show, and not surprisingly there were 21 constellations above his head, which meant that the scene 21 constellations were watching. It was the source of all the trouble, the mysterious creatures who put on this infernal show. The monster's name was Tokibi. 21 constellations is a small number for a show, but for a newcomer Tokibi it was unusual. Kim Namwon was supposed to kill most of the people in the wagon, but Dokja changed the script, and because of that the 2 constellations started to hate him. Just yesterday I was the one watching this world reading the novel. Now everything has changed, now they are watching me. Several constellations began to admire the Dokja scenario and paid an additional 500 coins. It turns out that there are constellations that like me and do not like me. It's interesting. You can admire me or hate me, it does not matter. At the end you will pay for it with your life. Downloaded Dokja. Lee Hyun-sung thanked Dokja for throwing the bug cage in her direction. She's smart enough to know better, Dokja said. Thank you for the colorful show, you can make a difference, Tokibi said. But this was hypocrisy, not kindness. Dokja knew this boy would be useful, so he took him with him. He just want to survive in this new horrible world. And finally the last survivor is Han Myung-go, a man of inhuman luck. But why was he with me in the car? He's rich enough to ride in his own car. Tokibi interrupted Dokja's thoughts. Guys, why are you so sad? You've passed the ordeal and now you can receive constellation sponsorship. It's a very cool reward. Now you are weak beings, which in the scale of everything, just pathetic bugs. But the noble higher beings give you a chance to change your destiny, and for the coins received for successfully completed the test you can pump yourself. But people didn't understand him, so he said, "Alright, I'll show you." In front of the group appeared the tablets in which there was a choice of a patron. The support of the constellations is the most important stage in the novel. The choice of sponsor is a system in which the constellations choose their favorite person to make them an incarnation of their constellation. In my case, I was chosen by 4 constellations. Constellations never reveal their real names. I have to find out who it is. It will be easy for me. I read the novel. The Black Dragon gives you a strong attack. In the initial scenarios it is the strongest constellation, but only in the beginning. Then you become a mad killer. Strange why he was interested in me. He does not suit me, said Dokja. The second constellation surprised him. It was the judge of the infernal flames. This entity executing punishment by fire must be the Archangel Uriel. She was from the constellation of good. It is a good option but imposes a lot of restrictions on me in the use of force. It is a good option, but we will see about the next. Hidden Intrigue is a weak constellation. The last option made me afraid of Dokja. It was the beautiful king of the monkeys, the great sage equal to the sky sun Wukong. Of all the characters in the novella, only one was chosen by him. He can kill thousands of monsters. It's a great sponsor, but why did he choose me? Can I defeat him? But Dokja was interrupted by Tokibi. The choice of sponsor is over. You have 10 minutes to take a break, and I'll be. Prepare for the next scenario. Lee Hyun-sung came up to meet Dokja, and Dokja noticed what a strong arm he has. He is definitely a tank. I should take him on my team. He was taken by Han Myung-go. Good job, boy. But Dokja called him by his name and he did not like it. Hey, aren't you supposed to call me boss? No, this isn't an office, Dokja answered. Do you want to lose your job? Said Hun. Do you really think that your company still exists? Listen everybody, the world has changed and you need to realize it, said Dokja. Okay, do you have a plan? Lee Hyun-sung said. There was an explosion in car 3707. It's definitely him, thought Dokja. He is the real hero of this story. They started to try to get into the next carriage to talk to him, but nothing worked. Then Dokja ordered Lee Hyun-sung to use his. He did manage to do so and they were able to open the door to the street. But Dokja said to run, the biggest danger was waiting for them up ahead. But Tokibi appeared in the sky again and stopped them. You are very lucky people, he said, and gave them a second scenario. The condition was that they must cross the destroyed bridge to get to the station. He should have run as fast as he could. But the bridge was still intact. If they had not cheated, they surely would have failed the test. So hurry up people, said Tokibi. And suddenly a huge snake appeared out of the water, which to destroy the bridge. Snakes in the initial scenarios do not attack people, so he is clearly here to destroy the bridge, thought Dokja. But suddenly Tokibi said, it's too easy for you to. Let's increase the difficulty, shall we? Suddenly the dead came to life. Everything was filled with dark ether. The group was chased by zombies. A couple of people managed to get to the station. For them the task was completed. A huge snake destroyed the bridge. But unfortunately Dokja, the girl and the head of the company stayed on the other side of the bridge. They did not complete the mission. What do we do now? Thought Dokja. But they were very lucky. Creature gave them his blessing. But the problem was that only 2 could cross the bridge, and there were 3 of them left. It was the creature Yoo Sanga. Dokja tried to look up her characteristics, but could not. It was amazing, she is definitely strong, thought Dokja. But a zombie attacked him, and made him defend himself. Ordinary zombies are not dangerous, but among them there is this guy, so you need to be very careful. Damn, we need to finish the mission quickly. Run, shouted Dokja, and they ran away. Dokja was left alone against a whole crowd of zombies. He didn't understand how he could escape. But suddenly he activated a unique skill. Bookmark. He did not understand what this skill is, although he has read all 3,000 chapters of the novel, but this is the first time he has seen this skill. But he guessed intuitively. He got the skill Kim Namwon and was able to defeat it. 10 minutes to go. He's late, it's about time he showed up, thought Dokja. Suddenly, there was an explosion in the zombie crowd. Finally the main character of the novella arrives, Dokja said. Thank you all for watching. If you liked it and you're waiting for the second part, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and give me likes. Write comments, and then the next part will be released very quickly.